When the winter months came, we used to shovel driveways for
Really?
$20. Yeah.
$20.
Wow.
Driveway to driveway in my neighborhood, asking if I could shovel the driveway
Really?
for $10, $20.
Oh.
Honestly, after maybe about like 5 driveways, we would honestly just stop and just race to the mall. Yes, we would race to the mall and literally just buy new shoes. It would never be clothes. It would literally just be shoes. We would go to the mall. We would each have like $100 each, and just I would come back and my mom would be like, "Hey, how was shoveling snow today?" And I would just be like, "Well, it was good. I got myself a new pair of shoes." And she would look at me and laugh, and I would just be like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, hopefully there's more snow later this week."
Welcome back, everybody, to
Yes.
the Grow Wise Founders Forum podcast. Very special guest today.
Very, yes.
You know, when I think of this person, I think of like the Dos Equis commercial, you know, the man, the myth, the legend, Hardy Vibert.
Yes.
Not Vibert, everyone. If y'all don't know who Vibert is, it's Vibert, right?
What's up, guys? What's up?
So thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate it. Hardy and I know each other from our Hollywood days,
Yep.
and Kayla knows Hardy from her first clubbing day.
Oh, my first club date, but I feel like I really know you through real estate.
Oh, that's true.
I feel
Yeah.
like I really know you through real estate. So
And I think that's what's going to be cool about this podcast is I think most people, at least on social media, know you from like your nightlife, right?
Yes.
But what you don't really know is like you're building a real estate empire at the same time on the down low.
oh
kind of.
yeah.
So we're really excited. If you can just kind of walk us through kind of your journey from like the beginning of entrepreneurship, and we kind of like the origin stories. We have people on and they're like, yeah, when I was 10 years old, I was shining shoes or I was selling grocery bags. So anything like, you know, growing up as well would be really cool to hear from
Yeah.
for our audience. And then we'll ask you questions along the way.
Yeah. Keep it.
Of course, of course. I think the entrepreneurial spirit really started when I was really young. I mean, we'll go back to Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Of course, in Boston, it snows a lot. So I used to have a friend back in the day. We'll call him Ray. And me and Ray used to go bike riding around the neighborhood all the time. And we used to hang out 24/7. And then when the winter months came, we used to shovel driveways for $20.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
$20.
Wow.
$20.
That's a lot of money.
Well, yeah, especially when you're like, I think I had to have been maybe 14, 15, maybe 16 years old at the time.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wasn't shy. I was literally just going driveway to driveway in my neighborhood, asking if I could shovel the driveway
Really?
for $10, $20. Yeah.
I did not
But
know this
I was
about you.
I was really bad with money at the time. Honestly, after maybe about like 5 driveways, we would honestly just stop and just race to the mall.
Nice. Getting the new kicks. Is that what's going on?
Yes, we would race to the mall and literally just buy new shoes. It would never be clothes. It would literally just be shoes. We would go to the mall. We would each have like $100 each and just buy brand new shoes. Sometimes it would be video games, but for the most part, it would just be buying brand new shoes.
And by shoes, you mean Jordans, right?
Yep, exactly. Jordans, whatever was new and hot on the market, we honestly would just go there and just purchase it. I would come back and my mom would be like, "Hey, how was shoveling snow today?" And I would just like, "Well, it was good. I got myself a new pair of shoes." And she would look at me and laugh, and I would just be like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, hopefully there's more snow later this week." And that's it.
I think that's cool to hear though, because I think something that's kind of prominent in a lot of people we interview is early salesmanship, because there's a lot in there. Even though you go door to door, there's some elements of selling that you're already learning from the beginning.
Yeah, definitely.
And I wasn't shy at all. I remember I would just go at it because most of these neighbors, they would see me riding bikes daily anyway. So they would see me and wave. And I was just like, you know what? Let me just try and see if they want me to shovel the driveway. Some would be elderly as well too. And I was like, look, if they don't give me money, they don't give me money. And if they do, it's even better. And I would hang out with my buddy Ray. So we would just be joking around half the time. And honestly, I think it would take us like maybe 5 to 10 minutes just to shovel the driveway, just both of us.
Really?
And then we'd literally be done, and that was it. Then on to the next job.
That's not bad. It's like $10 an hour each. Like what, 20 years ago or something like that?
Yeah,
That's a lot of
dude.
money.
That's solid.
It was. And to think back about it, I wonder why I didn't do it more. I think honestly, I mean, of course I was going to school at the same time too, but honestly, I think I was probably just doing it just to buy new sneakers.
Okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
that was your why.
Yeah,
You have a
exactly.
why,
Just-
right?
yeah, just get new sneakers, and then but honestly, if I probably just stuck to it and probably did it every snowstorm we got, I probably could have saved up a lot of money.
Mhm.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
this is like middle school, sounds like. I guess take us through like going to high school, maybe college, or like how did you end up starting your like first business?
Wow. So first business would be in California. California, I created a cell phone case company called
Really?
$10 iPhone case. Yeah.
What the heck?
I
Wait, where
still
was
think you could Google it. If you type in my name and you type in $10 iPhone case company, I
Hmm.
think I created it in 2013 or 14.
Okay.
It's dissolved now.
Okay.
But on there, you could see how much money I generated. I was doing good. And this was back in the day where Shopify wasn't big. Amazon FBA wasn't big.
Mhm.
This was like back in the day where you would reach out to the vendors. Majority of the vendors would be in Japan, China, and then you would buy in bulk.
Mhm.
Literally, they shipped it to my house. And I remember I had boxes and boxes of cell phone cases. At the time, it was the iPhone 5C.
Oh my God.
Yeah. The iPhone 5C had the plastic back, and
Yeah.
I was selling clear silicone cases for that. And literally, I was selling them for $10.
Mhm.
So, and that included shipping.
wow.
First month, I think I probably made like $1,000.
In
And
profit?
then upwards from there, we went from like 10K, 20K, and I
What?
think my highest month I probably made about 30K.
Is that
Wow.
is that in profit?
No, that
Revenue.
was in gross.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in Shark Tank right now. Like, what's your landed cost?
Yeah.
Who are your competitors?
As always, I was young. I was taking that money, and honestly, I was just doing stupid stuff. I think I got a BMW with that puppy.
Hey, M3.
Paid off some debt, and obviously, as the money came in, I was just spending it, and I honestly wasn't really taking it and diversifying it and adding new stuff to the stores. And what ultimately ended up happening was just sales just came to a halting stop. At the time, I was with my girlfriend and we were in Germany. And I remember daily, I was selling about, I want to say 20 to 30 cases daily. And then ultimately it went down to like maybe 5 cases, 2 cases, and then ultimately 0 cases.
Wow.
Where were you selling? What platform?
So I think it was website, and then it was the early days
Oh, your
of
website.
Shopify.
I see.
Wow.
I see. And
Yeah.
how old were you at this point?
I want to say I was 23,
Okay.
23, 24.
It's crazy hearing this about you because I know you today and you and I are very frugal. I like to say we're very wise with our spending. So it's actually very interesting hearing you say that because of who you are today.
Yeah. I'm actually curious, was there an instance, because it sounds like there's this huge shift in your personality and your relationship with money. So was there like a scenario where you were like, oh shit, like I need to really start thinking about what I do with my money? Was there a person maybe that influenced you to like have that shift in your relationship with your finances?
So I think it was probably the failure of that first company.
Yeah.
So having that failure, achieving that and achieving that income really showed me that, wow, it's doable. I could get it done, honestly, if I focus. But then also losing it all, I say that was a pivotal change in my mindset where, wow, you could literally lose it in an instant. So then I think after that, that's when I really, really started to read books. At that point, I think I made it a goal for myself to read at least maybe about 2 books a month, which still to today, I think I probably only read maybe half a book a month, but
Oh.
I try my best. I keep striving. But every single year I try to make it 12 to 15 books a year at the end of the
Nice.
day. But I really, you know what I mean, got down and I was just like, okay, I have to educate myself because as fast as I achieved it, it's all gone.
That's
And it
crazy.
really sucked at the moment because I think after that, I went back to work in a regular job and I really looked at it and I was just like, honestly, I was just like, if I really diversified and or if I connected myself with like-minded people, people who were in this industry, because I just did it myself, honestly. I was just like, what's a harm of buying these cases and just selling them on a website?
Yeah.
Right.
And I didn't do any email marketing, none of that. Literally just made a basic website, selling them $10, shipping including. I made a lot of money. And I really looked at it and honestly, I was just like, wow, losing it all. I was just like, okay. Next business I decided to go into, next venture, I was just like, I have to educate myself, and I honestly have to not lose it as fast as I lost that one.
That's great.
Wow.
That was a great question.
Yeah.
Before we move on, because reading has been one of my favorite things of entrepreneurship, which is ironic because growing up in school and my job, as you know, I had a pretty good job. I never really read a lot, not until I started entrepreneurship. I know this is a hard question, but can you pinpoint like your favorite book of all time?
That's an easy
Is
question.
it?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a
funny.
classic.
Hands down, Rich
That's a
Dad, Poor
classic.
Dad.
That's
Yep.
hilarious.
And ever since Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and all great books always give you solid recommendations within the book that you can highlight and then just add them onto your list. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and then from there, all of his recommendations just sprouted me into different directions on finance. And then I just bought different books, and then which led me to even more books and led me to bigger pockets. And then it just from there, it just grew from there at the end of the day.
Wow.
I will say that Rich Dad Poor Dad is definitely in my top 3.
Yes.
And in fact, I had a period where I bought like 10 of the book hard copies on Amazon. And basically whenever like a godson or like someone graduated from high school, I'd be like, read this. And I remember at one point I put like $100 bill in them. And I go, if you finish this book and summarize it for me, I'll give you another 100. Because I feel like we should be learning that stuff after, like in high school.
Oh, 100%. And on top of that, the way he simplifies everything and it's easy to understand. It's so easy to understand the way he, you know what I mean, says it to us in the book. And I literally just took all that education in just like a sponge, and then I just went after it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And there's a lot of books where there's a lot of fluff in there and you just get bored. You just sit there and you're just like, okay, it's getting a little repetitive. You know what I mean? It's just doing the same thing over and over again. And then you get a little lost. And you know what I mean? It almost takes your, you know what I mean, your enthusiasm in reading at the end of the day. But when Rich Dad, Poor Dad, when you read that, it keeps you on your toes the whole time.
Exactly.
Yes.
And there's so many tidbits that you get from it. I actually was just copy and pasting and just putting on Twitter. And people are like, oh, where are you getting that from? And I was just like, oh, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And half of the stuff just sticks with you. And then it happens over and over again. And you get so much education from it. When it stops, you're just like, oh my gosh, I got to read another one of his books.
Yeah.
And then you add another one of his books, and then he gives you more recommendations, and it just grows from there.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of books that can actually do that and then captivate your interest at the same time.
I think part of what makes it useful too is he tells it in a story of his life. So you kind of relate to another human going through life and learning lessons along the way.
Yeah.
All right. So we were, let's see, cell phone company.
Yeah. 23, 24 years old.
Right. You lost all your money. You're like, got to save. So what happens after that?
Okay. So pretty much go back to work. Obviously, I don't like working the 9 to 5. I don't think anybody really likes working 9 to 5.
And by work, we mean Chippendales, McDonald's.
No. So back in the day, I was working at a company called Aerovironmental.
What?
So yeah.
How come every time I talk to you, there's like new pieces of the Hardy chapter? I've interviewed you like twice or something, and like there's always new details here.
Hardy lore. It's growing.
Yeah, dude. I think half the time when we talk, we're probably just focused on real estate.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's right.
Am I right? We're talking about, we always talk about real estate and typically goals and what's your next goal and what's your next point of action. I think that's what our conversations usually lead to.
What is it? Enviro something?
Yeah.
Yeah, air environmental. It was
that?
located in Simi Valley, front desk work, really easy work.
Really?
Wow.
Are you familiar with that company?
No.
It's hard for me to picture you in that situation though.
Yeah.
Like I can't see it. I'm like, who?
Were you picking up phones like?
Yeah, honestly, it was 9 to 5. It was good money at the time. But obviously me, I can't do 9 to 5s.
Yeah.
I don't like doing 9 to 5s. So started thinking of, okay, what's the next business I could create? And I was thinking of service industry. And I was maybe thinking hospitality.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me look at the hospitality industry. And also at the same time, one of the habits where I don't know if it's good or bad, but it led me to create my hospitality company was nightclubs. So not only when I was making money with a cell phone case company, I was also spending money as well too, which also led me to Playhouse nightclub.
Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood, where I used to work back
Hollywood Boulevard. Duet in Hollywood Boulevard, right?
Yeah, it was on Hollywood Boulevard, Playhouse nightclub. That's where I got my start pretty much. I want to say the year was 2014, 13, 14.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, 2013, 14.
I have a question about this. When you say you got your start, because this is going to go into promoting, when I think of that, I feel like when guys see promoters, they see all the girls around the promoters like, oh man, that's such a cool life, Before we get into the promoting life, what made you think about trying to be a promoter? Was it that same allure? Like, oh, look at those promoters getting in and out of the club and they're hanging out with, like, what like made you like look into that in the first place?
So pretty much me moving to California, I didn't know too many people. One, I wanted to get to know people. I wanted to try to get to know more people. And also it was more of a push from my two mentors at the time, which also owned the club as well too. They were pushing me to work there as well. Russian Rob and Igor.
Wow.
Yeah, those two guys, they were my mentors in the beginning when it came to nightlife, and also when it also came to the creation of creating a hospitality company. They held my hand. They helped me form the LLC. They helped me pretty much how to move around hospitality. They connected me with so many people throughout the hospitality business in Hollywood, and they definitely cemented me in the space.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was it like you built this relationship and they kind of just like took the opportunity, or they saw that you had potential and were like, hey, we're just gonna see how it goes with this guy? Was it like that?
So to keep it short and sweet, I was going to Playhouse nightclub, and at the time I think I was just going Fridays and Saturdays. And Fridays and Saturdays, I remember at the time I had a German girlfriend, and my German girlfriend was going to Fulton State College, and she was bringing about 15 to 20 other German girls with her. So
okay.
we were all going to the nightclub. And at one time, Igor approached me at my table, and it was me and all girls. And he pretty much explained to me, he was like, hey, I want you to work for us. And me not knowing anything about hospitality, I was sitting there like, yeah, I'm okay. I got a nice job. But then I got his contact information. I got his number. And he would always text me from time to time like, hey, here's the flyer. Come work for us. We could give you a nice flat rate. We could pay you per girl. And at the time, I was just like, you know what? No, I got a nice 9 to 5. I really don't understand how nightlife works. But through his constant contacts and explaining everything to me, he ultimately convinced me. And also at the same time, I was working a 9 to 5, Monday through Saturday, only Sundays off, going into work very, very early, not getting out of work until maybe 5 or 6, which at the time I was young. Well, it was about 22, 23, really didn't like it. And ultimately I was just like, I wanted something new. And I wanted something that would give me more exposure to people, to make more friends. And I just jumped on the opportunity. And I remember at the time I with my cockiness, I took a photo of my paycheck and I sent it to him. And I said, hey, if you could match this, and I was just like, I'm all yours. And I think at the
Wow.
time he told me, he's like, I could double it. And I was just
Oh,
like,
that.
okay. And I was just like, all
Wow.
right, I'm going to take the opportunity. And I jumped on it. And
Wow.
then the rest is history. And now I want to say it's been over a decade. I want to say it's 12 to
Wow.
13 years. I want to say I've been in nightlife so far.
Wow.
I'm excited to get to real estate, but just so people, when people watch this, there's a lot involved in nightlife. They see the success of you today with like the girls around you and all the parties, VIP access, Coachella, EDC, celebrities and all that. But can you give us a summary of like with any venture, I think there's like always that learning curve and like getting through all the failures, right? I'm sure in the beginning you need to build up your roster, kind of get to know how to navigate situations. Can you give us like a 5-minute version of like what it took to build that experience over like 10 plus years in hospitality?
So pretty much I'll try to explain lower tier or beginner tier hosts slash promoters. Pretty much they get paid in the beginning, you get paid per person. So per person you bring to the venue, if there's a cover charge at the venue, you get paid maybe $5 per person.
Okay.
And then the better you get, it obviously goes up through time. And then also you get paid as well through commission. So commission varies through different events, but in Hollywood, California, flat commission in most places start at 10%. So then that's where you get
10%.
Yeah, 10%. Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah. So in the beginning, you start off because obviously you're a newbie. They don't know what you could bring to the table. So then you really have to think about it. Okay, how am I going to bring these people to the venue? How am I going to bring clients to the venue? Me, I always had an entrepreneur spirit. So what I first did was I went to college campuses. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to walk around college campuses. I'm going to get 21 plus people, and I'm going to tell them that I'm the number one promoter in Hollywood, LA, and they're going to come with me. Just doing that alone. And also at times, for girls, they actually get in the venue for free.
Yeah.
So you could tell girls at the end of the day, you have your own table, they could drink for free and they could get in the venue for free. That 10x your chances of them texting you and also showing up at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So just me going to college campuses, oh my gosh, I probably got so many contacts doing that.
Wow.
Then also another thing you could do as well too is just go to Santa Monica. Santa Monica, walk the pier. You'll see groups of people, offer them, you'll get them into the hottest venue in Hollywood. And at the time, Playhouse was the hottest venue in Hollywood. And just doing that, you'll get so many contacts doing that.
Yeah.
Another thing that I did as well too was I used to go to hotels. Hotels is where you walk in some good clients. So obviously a lot of high-end clients that are visiting, you'll see them by the hotel pool, just sunbathing during the day. Approach them. And also that's another thing. You have to be comfortable at approaching people. You know what I mean? Almost similar to door knocking. You have to be very, very comfortable approaching people and also handling the conversation at the end of the day, and also reading people to see if they are approachable, because you don't want to put yourself in danger. Yeah. And once you're able to captivate that and actually able to approach people talking to them, then hands down, you got to unlock. And also just to go back as well too, when I was younger, this was in high school, college days, I used to work for AT&T. So I used to work at a kiosk in a mall.
You were one of those guys.
I worked that job for 2 years. It was called AT&T One Solution Wireless.
Yeah.
And at the time, back in the day, I was selling Blackberries. I was selling the BlackBerry Pearl. I don't know if I'm aging myself right now, but do you guys know what the BlackBerry Pearl and the BlackBerry Curve is?
Well, I know what a BlackBerry is. I don't know if those are specific models.
Yeah. So I was selling those. So before they put you in the store, they put you in like a 30-day sale. So they help you on how to sell to people, how to carry the conversations, how to close. And that really, I say doing that at a young age really helped me. And also, you know what I mean? Just making sales in general, that really helped me, and that gave me, you know what I mean, a comfort level of talking to people and getting comfortable to carry conversations and stuff.
When you're approaching people, two questions. One is obviously girls, but were you also trying to approach like like guys who looked like they were rich? And also, at what point did you stop having to approach people, and why did you not have to approach people anymore?
So pretty much I approached anybody,
Mm.
anybody and everyone. If they wanted to buy tables, I said that's an option. If they just wanted to check out the venue to see if their vibe, that's an option as well too.
Oh.
Typically, I would land high-end clients just at hotels.
Mm.
When walking the beaches and college camps, I would focus on everybody, but also at the same time, girls.
Right.
Your popularity really, my popularity really started to get up there when other promoters started reaching out to me to work other venues. So that's when my name really started going out there, and also other promoters also started sending me people as well too.
Yeah.
And then when I actually started traveling to other venues in
Right.
Miami, in Vegas, and I'm always about networking, always about networking. I would give him my card and I would tell him, hey, if you ever want me to accommodate you or any of your friends in LA, reach out to me. And I would literally, I remember a goal of mine whenever I went to New York, when I went to the venues, when I went to Miami, when I went to the venues, same thing with Vegas, I would make sure I would give my card to maybe 5 to 10 promoters / host, and just to make sure that I'm available. And then that literally 10x my business. When I did that, like on a daily basis, until today, I probably not even since I think I stopped, you know what I mean, going to college campuses, maybe college campuses and walking the beaches, maybe about like 7-8 years ago. On any given day, I probably maybe get 3 cold calls from people wanted to check out venues, and maybe about, I'll probably maybe say 7 to 10 text messages of people that are interested in checking out venues.
Wow. Quite the web then of people and contacts.
Yeah, it's all about networking at the end of the day. So, and that is just America.
Yeah.
Once I actually started going to Sweden, which is one of my favorite locations to visit, I mean, it actually started blowing up there. And then when Instagram really started going mainstream, that 10x'd me from there. Now we're talking, you know what I mean? When Instagram got stories, that's when I really got 10x'd, and really my popularity really grew.
How do you keep up with everything too, though? Because like, I mean, what part of what we're learning in business are like systems, right? Whether automating stuff or just keeping organized. But when I was on Instagram, like it must be hard to keep up with a lot of DMs or even phone numbers. Like, how do you keep everything organized and I mean, you're one of the best people I know in how quickly you communicate back, right? So how do you do that with so many people trying to engage you?
Structure and emojis next to everyone's names.
What's my emoji?
It's all about structure.
What's my emoji?
What's your emoji?
Yeah.
Let me see.
The real hard pressed questions are coming out now.
No, I don't. There's no emoji for you. Well,
because I'm special. Number. That's fine. That's right.
Yeah, there's no emoji for you. I just got
it. That's right.
But for most people, I put emojis, especially for clients. I usually put the ball emoji on there. Regulars of mine, girls that love partying, I'll put the party emoji next to their name.
Nice.
When it comes to DMs and stuff, I absolutely hate keeping business in DMs. I typically tell, because there's so much spam in there. There's so much spam in there. And even when an actual lead falls in there, sometimes they just stay in the spam, which I absolutely hate. Whenever I recommend people to reach out to me, I actually tell them I prefer email or text.
Yeah.
Email or text is best. Because unfortunately there's so many random fake accounts that DM me. They just clutter everything up. So I always tell people, text me. If it's clients, always text me at the end of the day.
Right.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I try to keep all business transactions out of the DM. If they just want general basic information, I'll send it to them via DM. That's totally fine. But if it's anybody serious, I'll take it out of the DM and I'll tell them to shoot me a text.
Yeah, I like it. I'm sure this is curated after a lot of time and trial and error and losing people and all of that good stuff. So I actually want to pivot away from systems for a second and talk about themes, because what I'm hearing throughout this entire interview is you've had themes throughout your life. So like when you were selling phones, it was like the sales theme. You're learning how to sell. When you were doing the phone case thing, it was learning, the theme was like financial responsibility. Promoter life is now going into this networking theme. So I'm actually curious, kind of to move over to what you're currently doing. What would you say is the current theme of your life, and how do you think that has impacted your decision making?
It's a deep question.
Yeah, that's a
Sorry.
deep question. Well, the current theme I think right now is obviously tending toward, it's still a lot of hospitality
Mhm.
and sales. It still is a lot of sales because I'm still generating a lot of revenue for my restaurant, The Hideaway, and I'm generating a lot of revenue for my nightclub, Warwick Nightclub. So it's still definitely sales, but it's sales and also education. Moving towards educating people, educating the people around me about investing, because I see as I get older, a lot more people want to do more real estate as well too. So I try to educate people around me to help them make good investments and bet the best financial investments they can make at the same time. And I mean, that's pretty much just it, but it's still definitely sales within hospitality.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I still want to pivot away from nightlife
Yeah.
because ultimately, people my age right now, they're more towards on buying real estate and getting married and doing other stuff. But ultimately, for some reason, nightlife still has a grip on me. I mean, I'm not doing it as much as I used to do it back in the day. I used to do 7 nights a week. Now I'm just doing 3 nights a week, Wednesday, Friday, Saturdays. But the sales are still there. My clients are still there. I'm still generating a lot of profit for both venues, and it still has a grip of me. So I guess you could say I'm in the transition of right now, still in the transition of moving from sales to just doing investing in real estate full time.
Yeah.
Speaking of real estate, we haven't touched that part yet. So maybe in the last 10 minutes, let's talk about you know, you're doing nightlife, you're still doing nightlife. Where did real estate come from, and how long have you been in it? And kind of give us the cliff notes of the buildup of your portfolio.
Yes.
Yeah. So it all started the end of the beginning of 2019. The beginning of 2018, the beginning of 2019.
Nice.
I saved up pretty close to 6 figures.
Okay. Wow.
And
You saved up 6 figures?
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
You weren't buying Jordans anymore.
No, I stopped that a while ago.
Okay.
Dude, when I lost $10 iPhone case company, I turned into frugal hardy, like crazy frugal hardy. I'm just like, dude, I just got to save now. I can't be spending, buying what I want, doing this crazy stuff. I just started saving. And ultimately, when I saved up my 6 figures, I said, and honestly, it wasn't even like a 6-figure goal. I honestly was just saving, and also educating myself at the same time. And I was just like, okay, I saved up all this money. Now it's time to execute on something. I have to execute on something because I have to have my money make me money at the end of the day.
Leverage.
And at the time, all my mentors, everybody around me actually wanted me to invest in restaurants. Yeah.
Interesting.
They wanted me to invest in restaurants. So ultimately, obviously, I didn't invest in restaurants, but I decided to educate myself in the restaurant industry. And ultimately, what I came to find out was, especially in California, restaurants, especially newbie restaurants, only last maybe about a year to 2 years.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. So when it comes on the scale of risk, they're high risk, extremely high risk. I mean, if you're a billionaire and you got, you know what I mean, just an extra 6 figures laying around, go ahead, invest. But when you really just when you're really individual person and you earn it, you know what I mean? You have nothing. Because at the end of the day, I had nothing. You know what I mean? I have nothing to fall back on.
Yeah.
And it's just me, you know what I mean? Me saving money. And you know what I mean? It's like, okay, whatever I invest in, this is it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I'm going to be able to save up this money ever again,
Right.
you know? So whatever I put this money into, it better work. And that's when I started educating myself, Rich Dad Poor Dad, reading a lot of investment books, bigger pockets, just really surrounding myself around people. And honestly, it pivoted me into real estate.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know what? I was just like, with real estate, I don't have to invest all my money. I can invest just a portion of it. I could just throw it in there, see if it works. Okay, if I lose 20K, bad on me, you know? And then that's when I ultimately started researching out of state investments, different states. The reason why I did that is because the affordability. But if you do have a lot of responsibility, i.e., kids and stuff like that, investing out of state might not be for you, only because when you invest out of state, you need to be able to travel. You need to be able to go out there. And there's some investors that invest sight unseen, which I personally do not recommend. If you have the time to go out there, put your feet on the floor and walk the neighborhoods and check it out, go ahead, do it out there. But also some people invest sight unseen, and they do good. But ultimately with me, I'm hands-on. I want to actually touch the asset. I want to invest. I want to walk out there, just like with you guys in Vegas. Before I went out there, you know what I mean? We actually took some time, went to different neighborhoods, saw the neighborhoods, and you know what I mean? I actually, you know what I mean, got my hands out there and saw the asset that I wanted to invest in.
Yeah.
And ultimately what I ended up doing was I bought an out-of-state investment property in St. Louis, Missouri. And it was a big gamble in the beginning because everybody around me was just like, St. Louis, are you from St. Louis? Why are you doing St. Louis? And I don't want to take another 30 minutes explaining it, but I just did a lot of due diligence in regards to St. Louis. We could save that for another episode.
Yeah, for sure.
And ultimately, I bought a fourplex. After everything, the closing was, I want to say, around 27K.
What?
Wait, yeah, which is I now called it, go ahead.
27K for the fourplex?
Yeah, because at the time, Chase Bank, they did 20% down.
Okay.
For an investment loan, it was only 20% down. And after closing costs, it was about 27K. I could pull up my paper, but yeah, it was just about 27.
27K out of pocket.
Yeah, out of pocket. Yes.
Not the purchase price.
No, it is. Well, no, not the purchase price. No, the purchase price, at the time, fourplexes were going for 100K.
Okay.
Well, that's still
That's
awesome.
still amazing. Yeah.
That's like 5K per unit. Okay.
No kidding.
Yeah. So I did that, and everybody was just like, dude, you're
crazy,
doing a mistake. Like, you shouldn't do it, man. Like, the property's going to burn down out of this and that.
What?
Yeah, dude, so much negativity because ultimately everybody around me, you know what I mean? They're in the hospitality and the restaurant industry.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And I don't want to say any names, but at the time there wasn't a restaurant that was being built and they wanted me to invest in it. And they wanted, I think they wanted 60K for me, 60K for about, it could have been 60K or 70K for about 5% ownership. And obviously at the time, for everyone around me, they're like, oh my gosh, like that's amazing. Like, you're going to be owner of a restaurant. 100%. And this was 2018, 2019. And it was like, dude, like, what? Like, do it. And at the time I was just like, I don't know, guys. Like, honestly, like, you don't know if these restaurants are going to succeed. You really don't know. And honestly, the restaurant failed in 2020.
Yeah.
They were hitting a rock.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be mean. I know half my buddies are going to see this, but some of my buddies that did invest in that restaurant, they lost up to about $80,000.
Oh, dang, that's crazy.
Which is really sad. It's really sad at the end of the day. But ultimately, I think the only thing they could do is I think they could deduct a certain amount out of their taxes yearly. As losses at the end of the day. But still, you don't know if you're ever going to make, you know what I mean, your bucket of money that you save up. You don't know if you're ever going to save up that money ever again. You really don't know.
You never know.
You're taking a risk. And honestly, you have to take a calculated risk, do your due diligence, and then when you're ready, execute. But also at the same time, you have to check all the boxes.
Mhm.
And the reason why I did St. Louis was I was like, okay, it's only a fraction of my money. And also fixing, when you really get down to the macros into it, it's very affordable to live in St. Louis. Fixing stuff in your rental is very affordable.
Good.
Flights to St. Louis are very affordable.
Wow.
Just, you know what I mean? It was very low barrier to entry.
Mhm.
So I was just like, doing this, let me try it out for 1 year.
Yeah.
Either the property burns down, like everyone says, none of my tenants pay me rent. It's really bad. And ultimately I sell my property, or I can't even sell my property, or we'll see what happens. After the first year, I actually made all my money back and then reinvested that money and bought another property.
Very nice.
I'm actually thinking this will be good maybe for a part 2.
Yes.
Because we had a lot of content already, and I know we can go on. Most of what we talk about is about real estate, so we can go on and on here. But I think we should do that. We should save it for another episode.
Yeah, I think so. So that we can
ready. Let me know. Hopefully by then I'll really start doing YouTube, because I think I told you it's one of my goals. I actually wanted to start, you know what I mean, just educating people, letting people know more about me on YouTube. But I think my schedule. My schedule is pretty crazy. So
I've actually noticed by a lot of people that I follow, like part of their success is just having that calendar, Yeah. And like people respecting time. And that's what I appreciate about you as well. Like, I feel like I'm one of the most like anal person about time. And you kind of like are like me as well. So I really enjoy that.
Yeah, dude. I crunch it down. It's all about structure. I always block, block my days, with increments of meetings, gym, always gym.
Right.
And that's out of reading all the books, that's the only way you can get the most out of your days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because some people, they just go about it, but ultimately you're not making the most out of your time. You're really not. Just block it down, add it on the schedule, and you could see how much you could get done in your days. Like whenever, I think the last time I went to Vegas to go work on my property, I think I sent you a block of exactly what I was doing down to the time.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah,
I love when people operate like that, because that's how I operate.
Yeah, there's always the saying, you can always make more money, but you can never buy more time.
Boom.
Never.
So key. Your time is your biggest asset.
Absolutely.
Hardy, man, thanks for coming on. Everyone watching this, follow him at Hardy_Hollywood.
Yes.
Is that still your handle?
Hardy_Hollywood. YouTube, I forget what I'm on there, but just type in.
We'll put your link in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could put my link in the description. Subscribe.
There you go.
That's right.
I also have my website as well too.
Okay.
HardyVibert.com as well. Check it out when you have a moment. And hopefully in the future, I could get on YouTube and start giving more advice as well too.
Exactly. Well, we're looking forward to the day that happens. Viewers, please, if you have any questions for Hardy and about his journey, please drop them in the comments. We'll keep an eye on them, and we'll make sure they get sent over to Hardy so that we can answer all the questions that you guys have. In the meantime, though, thank you so much again, Hardy, for taking the time out of your schedule to sit down and talk with us. Your story, I think, inspired us in a lot of ways to do what we do today, and I hope that other people see it and it also inspires them as well. So thank you. No problem at all. See you guys soon.
All right,
sounds good.